Greetings class, welcome to the merry-go-round aka perpendicular geared train aka spinny thing project for robotics class. This is your project number 3 for with your EUDAX kit, and what I have here is all the materials that you're going to need. First off, you're going to need your simple circuit with a battery, a switch, and a motor. Now you likely need to build another one. I'm not going to go through how to build that in this video since I already did that quite thoroughly in the first video with the simple fan circuit. So if you need to remember how to build that circuit, go ahead and watch that video again. So you're going to need to build a new one of these just to get your motor going, and of course test it to make sure it runs. Alright, you're also going to need a glue gun, a hot glue gun, and some glue sticks. If you don't have this, it's not super vital, but it is going to make things a little bit nicer. If you can't use that, if you don't have that, then good old-fashioned duct tape or really any tape will work, or Elmer's glue. But the way that I'm going to show you how to do it here is with a hot glue gun. So you're going to need that. You're also going to need a box. I just used the box that the kit came in because I figured everyone has that since you all have the kit. But any cardboard box will do, as long as it's not just a piece of cardboard. You're going to actually really need some height to it because that's going to act as our stand. And then you're also going to need all these resources that you see here. First, the simplest one is this kind of interesting yellow thing that I've got going on here. So this yellow thing comes as part of your kit, and I'm not 100% sure what it's used for by the kit developers, but I know what I'm going to use it for. So you need that, okay? You also need a shaft. This is, you know, about an inch long, a little bit more than an inch, maybe an inch and a half. You're going to need this little screw gear here. That's absolutely necessary. That's going to be our driver gear. You're going to need this white gear here. This is the biggest white gear that I could find. You're going to need this. And just notice it's got this little piece on there. That's the driver gear that you're going to need. You're also going to need this piece here, and you'll see why you need this piece in a second. But you're going to need this piece, and the important part about this piece is that the shaft just goes through it. It doesn't stick to it. So this hole is wider than the shaft. The diameter of the hole is bigger than the diameter of the shaft, so it can slide in and out really easily. And then you're also going to need a pulley. Okay, so this is a little pulley, and the hole is the same as the diameter of the shaft, so it's going to stick on there. So gather all those pieces. Once you've gathered all those pieces, you should pause the video now. Once you've gathered all these pieces, come back and continue watching the video. Okay, now that we've introduced our pieces, I'm going to clear the table a little bit, and we're going to talk about how this is going to be done. Well, the first thing that we have to know is that contrary to the video that I showed you guys in class, that video had a very long shaft attached to the electric motor, but we just have a very short shaft. So very plain and simply, the first step and the easiest step is just to put that right there on the motor. You don't need to push it down too hard. In fact, you don't want it too deep on there. So just get it on there so it's nice and snug, and that's it. So that's the first step. All right, now moving forward, let's talk about what we're actually going to do. So what we want is we want this little spiral gear to mesh with the teeth on this white gear. So that's all nice and good, but we want this to be stationary. So the next part of this project is we've got to get this gear to just kind of sit and rest real nice on this box. And so the next few steps you're going to see are all about getting this gear to mesh real nice, to sit and rest really nicely on this box. Okay, so the first step in getting that gear to sit really nicely on the box is figuring out where we want it. We don't want it too close to an edge because it might cause us problems later on. We also don't want it directly in the middle because that might cause us problems, so let's put it off to a corner. And then all you're going to do is you're going to take your shaft and you're just going to poke a hole right where you want that to go. And this might be a little bit tough. If you want, you can kind of use this thing and then boom, poke a nice hole. Okay. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our pieces and we're gonna use them in kind of a specific way in order to get this shaft, this gear to just sit nicely. So the first step is in actually attaching this gear, putting that gear through that pulley. And again, sometimes it's a little bit hard to push the shaft in. So you can use this piece here, and I'm actually gonna rest it on the table because I don't want to ruin my cardboard box. So I'm just gonna use that, and boom. So that's in there nice and tight. It doesn't need to go, in fact, you don't want it to go all the way through. You just want it to just touch. And the reason why you don't want it to go all the way through is because what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick this through the back here. So inside the hole that we poked. And then that is gonna serve as kind of a stopper to keep the shaft from being able to come up. So, cool. See, I can't pull this shaft up now. It can still fall through, but I can't pull it up anymore. All right, for this next part, you're gonna need a hot glue gun. And if you don't have a hot glue gun, you can probably use tape for this, or Elmer's glue will work as well, but hot glue is definitely gonna be the best option. You're also gonna need this pulley and shaft that we created. You're also gonna need this shaft with the teeth, this gear with the teeth that are sticking out in this little nub. And of course your box. All right, so how are you gonna do this? Excuse me. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna poke the shaft through that hole in your cardboard box. You're gonna hold it up with your finger, and then you're gonna place this piece on it with that little thing that's sticking out, have that facing up. So that kind of teeth are kind of facing down onto the box. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your hot glue and you're going to hot glue all around. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna keep that piece on the shaft. So you're gonna hot glue all around our piece here. And then once you've done that, you don't need too much, but make sure it's all the way around. And if I can zoom in, just show you how I did that there. So it's kind of all the way around, as you can see. Not the prettiest job, but it works. And just try not to burn yourself. Let it dry. I'm going to pause the video. I'll come back when it's dry. Okay, cool. So if you've done this correctly, then you should be able to spin it. It makes a fun sound there, sure. You should be able to spin it, but it's not going to be able to come out. All right, so that was the goal here. That's why we did this. So we want to be able to spin it without it coming out. And we've accomplished that goal. Cool. Okay, now that it's nice and dry, you can see that I can still spin it, but I can't push it and pull it up at all. Awesome. So that's exactly what I wanted. Now this next step is to get this gear and have it on the shaft as well. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to just gently press this onto the very end, and I'm not going to push it down all the way, and I'm supporting it on the back like I did before, and I'm just going to press it down gently until it gets on the end here. Okay, and there you go. So I've got this just on the very end of the shaft, and I'm eventually going to push it down a little bit more, but first I need to test something out. All right, now the thing I need to test out is exactly what the height is of the motor, and how I have to get this gear to be the right height so it meshes on there really nicely. So the question is, how am I going to do that? Well, I don't want to just glue this down because it's just not enough height. I could put some cardboard on there, but that's kind of what this thing is for, this piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that motor in there, and you can do it two ways. You can kind of just slide it in and then turn it. That's kind of the easiest way to do that. And you want to have your prongs facing up just because that gets them out of the way. Now if I take a look at this, this is too high. So I need to push this gear down, and I'm just going to do it gradually, little by little, and then test it out to see if that's at the right height. So I'm going to push it down a little bit more. Okay, and then see if that's at the right height. So checking it, and it looks like it could be a little bit lower. The gear is just a little bit, but actually, it's pretty close, just a little bit lower. So I'm going to make it a little bit lower. Push it just a tiny bit, okay, and then see how that works. Perfect. Okay, so I got this gear. Right, I got this gear just at the right height that I want it to be, and now the next step is I'm going to actually glue this motor mount on to get it to where I want it to be. Okay, so in order to figure out where I want the motor to be, I want to just test it out and just mesh it on there directly and just see if it works, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and test it, and as you can see, apparently our motor spins way faster than the motor that the guy was working with in his video. So this thing is actually going to spin pretty fast, which is kind of cool. So if you think about it. But so the number one thing that I want to do here is I want to avoid my motor touching, oops, sorry, you can't see that. I want to avoid my motor touching that gear. Obviously that's not what I want. So I need to have this thing nice and backed off. And you can press your motor forward a little bit so it gets this thing back further. And once I have that, I can go ahead and figure out where exactly I want that to be. And so you can mark it in however way you want. So I'm going to just mark either side of where I want this to be. And again, it's nice to test it again once you've got your final thing. Yep. So that works well, almost too well. And I'm going to mark the front so I know exactly where it's going to be, mark there and there. And once I've done that, I can take this out, and then glue my motor mount on. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a spot of glue here, and then press my motor mount in on those lines right where I had it set up. Cool. Now, once I've done that, I should be able to put my motor in there and have it mesh. And there you go. Cool. Hot glue dries pretty quick on cardboard. So, oops. Focus, please. Awesome. So, that's it. That's the majority of the mechanism. Testing it out real quick. Obviously you want to keep your wires out of the way. Sure makes a lot of noise, huh? Alright, so finally we want to put this yellow platform on, and importantly we want to make sure when we put it on that it clears the top of that motor, otherwise it's going to hit it when it's trying to spin, and that's not going to be good because you're going to have friction and heat is not good. So what are we going to do? Put a spot of hot glue on here, the very top. And then press our platform down onto the hot glue. And there you have it. Alright, so I've given it time for the hot glue to dry. Now test for my mechanism. Oh yeah, that thing works. Alright, so there you have it. Finally, the last thing that you want to do, let me zoom out, is you want to go ahead and mount your switch. So I'm going to mount my switch kind of far away from it. I don't want the wires to get tangled, so I'm just going to go ahead and mount my switch over here. Gotta love hot glue, right? It just does the job. Okay, and then in terms of my battery, I can mount the battery. Honestly, hot glue is not going to hurt your battery, so you can just go ahead and put a spot of hot glue down, and there you go. Your battery's nice and mounted. Your switch is mounted easily. There you go. So I've got my completed mechanism here. Battery, switch, motor mount, got my cool little shaft concoction here, figured that out, and my platform. Now, So cool, mechanism is done. Okay, last but not least, you're gonna put something on here to spin around. Now, to be clear, this thing is spinning way faster than I thought it was gonna spin. So this might be a little bit dangerous. So as your teacher, I am going to say this. If you want to just leave it here, just leave it here. If you don't have anything small and light that you can put on this platform, then just call it a day and you'll get 100% on this. But if you're like me, you don't want to just do that. So find something small or light that you can put on here that can spin around. Something that if it flies across the room, it's not going to hurt anybody. Chances are it's not going to fly across the room. It'll just kind of spin out and be crazy. I have daughters, so I have a little mini thing here. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to go for it. So I'm going to go ahead and put some hot glue on the bottom here and put plenty of it on there because, you know, this thing's spinning around pretty fast. So don't be stingy with your hot glue, and you want to make sure that you put it right in the middle. So you don't want it off to the side. You want to put that thing right in the middle of your platform, as close as you can get it. And then let that dry, and I'll pick back up once we're done. Okay, so now if you have glued something on there, chances are hot glue is the only thing that's going to work to glue something on there secure enough because it's so fast. So if you don't have hot glue, then I would just recommend not trying to adhese something to this, though maybe Gorilla Glue or something really strong adhesive would also work. Once you've glued something on, before you test it out, this is a time for eye protection. So pause, put on someone's glasses, sunglasses, make sure no one else is in the room that's going to get hit by something if it flies across the room. Clear your desk area so there's nothing that's going to get hit. Make sure you've got a clear space, and then come back. Okay, I'm assuming you've done that, so now's the time to test. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's so cool. I'm going to hold it to the side. Wait, no, I'm just going to go handheld. Let me pause, be right back. Okay, I couldn't help but share in the gloriousness of this project. So, ready? Here we go. Oh, that's so fun. Oh, this thing's wanting to wobble. Awesome. So if you're watching this video and you haven't done anything yet, actually probably putting it closer to the middle of your box would have actually worked just fine, because mine is wobbling a bit. But if you hold it down, oh man, that's just classic. Poor Minnie Mouse. All right, and that's it. There you have it. Merry-Go-Round Mini Robotics Project 2020. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Look forward to seeing what you've done. All right, one of the things I noticed during testing is this motor can slide in and out, and you kind of don't want that to happen. So just get it to where you want it to be and make sure that it still works. Oh, that's a little rugged. Alright, so get it to where you want it to be, make sure it still works, and then put some hot glue across the top there, and that'll just increase some friction, so it'll keep your motor from sliding in and out. So just wanted to give you guys that last little tidbit to make sure that your motor project, your mini merry-go-round or whatever merry-go-round you make lasts. Love you guys.